You're watching the Weiss channel. Today, we're going to talk about domain and range and functions. Okay. So here's what a function is. A function is a situation where you have x values and y values. Okay. You have an x and a y. Now, as long as you don't have more than one x value, I'm sorry, take that back. As long as you don't have a repeating x value, it's called a function. Here's an example. All right. You have all your x values here. All these x values just occur one time. Okay. So in other words, if x is -1, y is going to be 5. If x is 0, y is going to be 3. If x is 1, y is going to be 5. Now notice that the 5 happens twice. Okay, that's okay. The y can be repeated and still be what's called a function. It's just the x cannot be repeated. X is 2, y is 11, x is 3, y is 21. Okay, this is a function because the x value does not repeat. Okay. Now here, do you see how, okay, if x is -2, y is -1. If x is 3, y is 0. But look here, right here. If x is 4, y is not only 0, it's also 2 and it's also 4. Okay, so in other words, you have -2, -1. You have 3, 0. You have 4, 0. You have 4, 2, and you have 4, 4. The x value repeats, okay? If the x value repeats, it's not a function, okay? And you have 10, 6. This is not a function because the x value repeats more than one time. That is all you need to know. It's all you need to know. If the x repeats, it's not a function. If the x doesn't repeat, it is a function. That's all you need to know. So right here, right, the x does not repeat. This is a function because you only have the 2 comes once, the 3 comes once, the 4 comes once, the 5 comes once. Okay. Now the 8 repeats, but that's okay. The y values can repeat. It's just the x values. As long as the x values do not repeat, it's a function. Okay. Is this a function? Yes. Why? Because you have 2, 3, 6, 8. The x value does not occur more than once. Is this a function? No. Why not? Because you have 2 twice. The answer is no. Is this a function? Yes. You have +3, but you also have -3 and +4. That's a function. It's okay. Once again, the y value repeats. That's okay. As long as the x value does not repeat, it can be a function. Okay. Here, is this a function? Yes. Why is it a function? Because the x value does not repeat. Okay. So, for example, here, all right, here's -8, -1, but there's no other -8 anywhere along here. We're going to talk about this in the next video, but if I use what's called the vertical line test, means anywhere along the graph, if the vertical line passes through more than one point, then it's not a function. But here you can see, look, here the x only happens once. All right, the x only happens once. Now you can check here, look, y, look, y equals 1 here, 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 y equals 1 here. That's okay. The y can repeat. As long as the x does not repeat, it's a function. Okay? So if a vertical line, which is a straight up and down line, only goes through one point, it's a function. This is a function. Function. There's no vertical line that passes through more than one point. That's a function. Okay. This one is not a function. Why? Here's one example. Okay. X is -1 here, x is -1 here, x is -1 here. A vertical line passes through more than one point. That is not a function. Not a function. Not a function. Okay. What about here? This is not a function for many reasons, right? Right here, x is 2 right here, x is 2 right here, x is 0 right here, x is 0 right here. Okay, all throughout this circle. The circle is never a function because the x repeats twice, many times. Okay, so this is not a function. Okay. Over here. Is this a function? This is not a function. Why? Because 25 repeats twice, right? The answer is just no. Over here, is this a function? Yes, because although you see like the y value repeats twice here, right? The 12 repeats twice, that's okay. The x never repeats. X is x is 1, x is 2, x is 3, x is 5, and x is 6. But the x value does not repeat. That is a function. Okay. This set of numbers is called a relation. Is this relation? All of these are everything I've shown you thus far. They're all called relations. These are all relations, okay? How is X related to Y? They're all relations. But the question is it a function? Okay, this one is not a function. This is not a function. Why? Because the 4 repeats. The answer is no. That's it. Okay. One more time. Is this a function? No, the 6 repeats. Is this a function? Yes, x does not repeat. Is this a function? Yes, x does not repeat. Is this a function? No, x repeats. Not a function. Is this a function? Yes, x does not repeat. Is this a function? No, x repeats. Is this a function? Yes, x does not repeat. Is this a function? No, the x value repeats, right? Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's 4, -1. Here's 4, -3. The x repeats, not a function. Is this a function? No. The 18 repeats twice, the -20 repeats twice. Okay. Is this a function? No. Look here and look here. X repeats in 2 different places. Is this a function? No. 18 repeats. Okay. It's okay to have -17 and +17. That's okay. But to have 18 repeat twice, that's no good. Not a function. Okay. Now, we're also going to talk about domain and range. Domain is the x values. Domain is the x values. Okay, so what are the x values? The x values are -10, -6, -2, +6. That's your answer. The domain is just these values here. That's the domain. That's it. Just write those down. You're done. Okay. What's the range? The range is the y values. Okay. Well, what are the y values? Here is -4, -5. Here is -3, -1. Here is -1, 3. Here is 3, -1. And here is 4, -5. What are the y values? The y values are just -5. I don't have to write it twice, even though it occurs twice. -1 and +3. All right. These are the y values, a part of the range that makes up the range. The range is the y values. The domain are the x values. The range are the y values. That's it. That's all you need to know. The range of the y values, the domain of the x values. What's the domain? The domain is -3, +3, +4, +5. Okay. That's the domain. What are the x values? Done. You don't need to tell me +3 3 times. Just write it once. Okay. That's the domain. What's the domain here? 3, 5, 6. Please write your answer from lowest to highest. Notice I didn't write 3, then 6, then 5. Okay, just put it in numerical order. okay? What's the range here? The range is -9, -8, +7, +8. That's it. Okay. What's the range? It's the y values. That's all you need to know. The range is the y values. The domain is the x values. What's the domain? The domain is -9, -3, 1, 8, and 9. The x values, put them in order. Okay, that's it. What's the domain? The x values. Can you come up with the x values before I write it? -5, 0, right? This here is 0, right? 1, 5. Everyone understand why? -5 is here because there are points here, right? 0 because there's a point there, right? 1 because there's a point there. 5 because there's a point there. The x values is the domain, okay? What's the range? Those are the y values, okay? Can you say it before I write it? -5, -4, -3, 2, 5. Why? Because there's a point there. There's a point here. There's a point here. There's a point here. There's a point here. The y values is the range. Okay. What are the domain and the range? Domain and the range. Okay, well, domain, the x values. What are the x values? The x values are -3, 0, 2. Right? -3, 0, 2. Right? What's the range? The range of the y values. What are the y values? The y values are, let's change color. -1, 0, and +2. Done. Okay. What are the domain and range here? All right. The domain, x values, put them in numerical order. All right. -10, -1, 2, 6, 8. What's the range? The range is -5, 1, 2, 6. There you go. The domain of the x values, the range of the y values. What are the domain and range here? All right. Domain. Can you come up with it before I write it? Domain, -5, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. What's the range? -4, 0, 2, 3, 4. That's it. So that's what we've done. Function, domain, and range. It's really easy. Okay. You've been watching the Weiss channel. Make it a great day.